Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Those joining us on the live stream on Matchroom Boxing and DAZN around the world, you would have seen the late entry, just arrived, of Josh Warrington, the two-time world champion. We start this press tour today in Leeds, of course later in Nottingham, via Sheffield on the way, ahead of what is a blockbuster British boxing clash for the world featherweight title. A tremendous fight, as we said yesterday. Nottingham against Leeds in Sheffield for world glory. Two tremendous assets, two tremendous fighters of the recent years in British boxing history. The two-time world champion Leigh Wood, the two-time world champion Josh Warrington, looking to become a three-time world champion in a must-win clash and one of the most mouth-watering clashes in the 2023 schedule. Of course, the trainers, Sean O'Hagan, Ben Davison, ahead of what is a must-win clash on October 7th, live and exclusive on DAZN around the world. And we'll start with the challenger and the challengers team. Sean, welcome. Congratulations firstly on a tremendous fight with Maxi out in Oklahoma. Fully deserved to get the victory, but now focus on your son, focus on a brilliant fight, focusing on, quite remarkably, as I said to him a couple of days ago, trying to become a three-time world champion.
Yeah, I think regarding Maxi, he showed everybody what he's capable of, but everything said and done, we're back here now. We've got to focus on job in hand, and that's what we're going to do.
Leigh Wood has had a tremendous run. You guys have been there, seen it, done it. I said in interviews before, I think Josh, one of the most underrated fighters in Britain, probably because a lot of people associate the fan base and don't sometimes forget about the actual resume and what he's done. But a tough fight, a tremendous fighter in Leigh Wood, but you fully confident, as you have been, I believe, for a while, that you have the number of Leigh Wood in this fight.
Oh yeah, I mean, fights don't come any bigger than this, do they? Two English lads, 50 miles apart, fighting for a world title. I mean, it says it all, and it sells itself. You know, this is only one where we don't have any needle, really. Obviously, we want to win. We'll do everything we can. Hopefully not have to go to judges. But this is one that I really want to get my teeth into.
When I messaged Josh the other day, I said, you know, quite remarkable that after everything, and almost 10 years ago, since Josh won the Commonwealth title at the Hull Arena against Amir Moon, and nearly 10 years since Leigh Wood actually lost to Gavin McDonnell in the same arena, and remarkable the journey that have both been on then. But I guess you always dreamed of becoming a world champion, but becoming a three-time world champion is something that not many achieve. And I know Josh wants that away day. You know, he said to me, I want to win this fight and then finally get that American fight. But also, refreshing as well to be away from home. I know you're only 45 minutes or an hour from home, and we're going to split this arena in half. The atmosphere is going to be fantastic, but still an away day for the lads after everything they've given to Josh.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely love an away day. And I think by the time 7th of October comes, Sheffield's going to turn into another Leeds. Because, yeah, I mean, you've experienced it yourself, haven't you? We went to Berlin for a little move-around fight, and it was like being in Leeds, to be honest with you. But I think what this fight does is, for anybody aspiring to become a champion in boxing, and being genuinely honest, straightforward here, these two lads here, these are people that should be looking up to. You know, we've both had ups and downs, and now here we go, you know, ready for the biggest fight of both the careers, I think.
And just a final one on the fight itself. I know I won't go too deep into tactics, but people talking about this as a great clash of styles, or certainly a clash that's going to gel particularly well. Josh is all action. Leigh Wood is a tremendous puncher as well, and you know he's a great boxer as well. Likes to get involved himself. You see this fight being a brutal affair over the 12 rounds, and one that could certainly end inside the distance as well.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes fights don't always go as you plan. You'll have a plan A, you'll have a plan B, and sometimes you'll have a plan C. But I think we all know how this is gonna finish up. Neither of them will take a backward step, I don't think.
Josh, welcome. Amazing what you've been through since that victory in the whole arena. And, you know, I think when you look at the actual resume, the fights that you've been involved in, even the last fight against Lopez, a fight that could have gone either way, actually after a frantic start, tremendous performance from you as well. And now you go in to another fight, Sheffield Arena, another huge British blockbuster, chance to become a 3-time world champion. Makes you sound old, doesn't it? That's what I said to you the other day, a 3-time world champion, but unbelievable for the legacy, unbelievable for the history.
I'm old, to be honest with you. We've got a fair few greys outside. I mean, in my 30s now, but just before I go forward, because I'm fucking holding this cake here, and give me a make. It is Yorkshire Day, ladies and gentlemen, but it's also Mr. Leigh Wood's birthday, so I'd like to say, round of applause, happy birthday to Leigh Wood. 37 and 38, and we've got you a cake, Leigh. there's no drugs in it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just so there you go, mate.
I'll take that. Go on, Spike, have you?
How many weeks have we got?
Get it down your neck. It'll be all right.
I see what you're doing there.
Listen, there's mutual respect there, and you know, we don't have to be just shouting and screaming and chucking tables at each other to have a barnstorm of a fight, and that's what we are going to have on October 7th. But to answer your question there, Eddie, yeah, 3-time world champion. I mean, when we were coming through, you know, the opportunities against Samir Menemne, Rendell Monroe, that Leeds Arena show on that Wednesday night, I even think that you probably didn't think that I'd get to this level. Probably many people didn't think I'd get to this level, but, you know, myself and my team have been very confident throughout the years, and we've just kept ourselves to ourselves, worked away in the gym, done what's been needed to do, beating the people in front of us, and you know, here we are. I lost a majority decision fight back in December, a fight that I believed I won, but I can understand how it went the other side. But this is a massive opportunity for myself to get back on top. And, you know, the sport of boxing, as we've last seen in the last week, with the fights like Inoue and Fulton and Crawford and Spence, boxing fans want to see the big fights. They want to see the competitive fights, and I'm very well supported. Leigh's getting a bit of a fan base behind him now. You know, he's been on a fantastic run, so it's going to make for a fantastic fight. But it's one that I believe, and I'm very confident of becoming a 3-time world champion, and you know, bringing that big day that I still believe can happen. You know, in the States, winning more world titles and making more history as we go along.
Let's talk about that run of Leigh Wood, because he talked about earlier that one day he felt like his career was going nowhere, and he just thought, oh, I better call out Josh Warrington. You know, if he's number one in the division, he's the big British fighter, I need him. Are you surprised at the I don't know whether you want to call it the rise, the rebirth, whatever it is of Leigh Wood, because he's on an unbelievable run that maybe 3-4 years ago didn't look like it was going. I mean, you know, the other common factor here is, of course, you guys in the corner for Reece Mould when these two boxed for the British title, 2 or 3 years ago, and that was a career-defining fight for Leigh Wood. An unbelievable run of fights since then, and seems to be still improving.
It's obviously, like my old man just said there, you know, other fighters will think it's over, want to be looking. You know, fighters like, you know, myself and Leigh and like Maxie, because it's not done until we fucking say it's done. I know sometimes you might say up here, oh, it's your last chance saloon and stuff like that, but, you know, we know how much we've got left, and some report were telling me that he sent me a message a few years ago, you know, calling me out. I mean, at the time, I think I was calling out likes of Shakur Stevenson and Gary Russell Jr. But, you know, he's been giving them opportunities, and he's taken them with both hands. So to credit to the man, but I kind of feel like I've been part of them opportunities because, you know, having that little bit of a tick over against that unknown Mexican behind closed doors. You know, if I'd have come through that, or maybe I didn't even have that fight, I'd have been boxing Kanju for the Ring Magazine belt. And, you know, myself, you know, he got the opportunity, and I was like kind of part of that. Then Lara becoming the big superstar he is, you know, over here and worldwide. Again, I've been part of that, and it's just unfortunate, like, I'm going to have to stop Leigh's run on October 7th. But, you know, credit to the man, he's beating those who've been put in front of him. But like I say, on October 7th, we get back to winning ways, and we get back on top.
Remember when you boxed Carl Frampton in the Manchester Arena? Similar there in that a lot of Irish there, a huge amount of Leeds as well. This time Sheffield Arena.
Yes.
Splitting down the middle, half Leeds, half Nottingham. Away day for the boys. Going to be a great, great trip and a great fight.
Oh, listen, I've said already in a few interviews, I'm very, very grateful, and I'll be forever indebted. I mean, we're nearly up to 10 years. We've been headlining shows, and they're still following me like it's my first one. You know, they still believe that I can be back on top. They still believe that we're going to have them big away days in the States. So they're fully behind me, and they're licking the lips at the away day down to Sheffield. So it's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. You know, this is a sport, but it's a business. This is also a drama, and you know, this is what people are going to be tuning into. They want to see a noisy atmosphere. They want to see two lads going at it and giving it all in the ring. And yeah, October 7th, that's what we're going to see, fireworks.
You look fresh, you sound confident, no doubt in your mind you beat Leigh Wood October 7th in Sheffield.
I see no other way, but my hand been raised. For that three-time world champion has just been stuck in my head. It's been, you know, big believer in visualization and what the universe has got to offer me, and I just believe work as hard as I can in the gym, stay fully focused, everything will take care of itself, and like I say, I've got full respect to Leigh. You know, I looked at I shook his hand back in February after the Lara defeat. I went in, shook his hand, and I did say to him, we will fight eventually, and we're here. But like I say, it's an opportunity for myself to get back on top, and I honestly see myself winning, and that arm be raised.
Thanks, Josh. Talk about the rise. One man who doesn't ask for the credit but must take it is Ben Davison and this incredible journey. Everything you've achieved in boxing, even at a young age, the roller coaster of the Leigh Wood journey has got to be right up there. I remember when you first took Leigh under your wing. I think you only had 4 or 5 weeks with him going into the Reece Mould fight in the bubble. And I'll never forget the conversation where you said to me, I cannot believe how hard this man punches. You know, I've only had 4 or 5 weeks with him. I'm confident he's going to do it. I would have wanted more time, but you know, you got the win that night. And the run from Kanzu in the back garden at fight camp to one of the great fights of all time, knocking out Michael Conlan in the 12th round, the disappointment of the Maurizio Lara defeat, the joy of winning the rematch, and now starting to get what he really deserves, which is just those mega fights. Josh Warrington, the one that you guys wanted, October 7th in Sheffield.
Yeah, for sure. I think, to be honest with you, both of these guys are two of my most favourite fighters, which is mad because one's the guy that I train, the other guy's the opponent. But I think that exactly echoing the words that Sean was saying earlier, that if you're a young kid looking up, these are the two role models you want to look at. I think that, again, also what Josh was saying, where a lot of people probably would call these two guys overachievers, and that might, you know, that's a compliment because I think that their character has took them to places that no amount of talent alone could take people. To be an overachiever, you've got to be willing to go to places that not many people are willing to go, and each time they've been written off and they've come back, and I think that that's why they've got the support that they've got. And I'm just a huge fan of both of them. And to be honest with you, I think we might as well just give them Fight of the Year already, because I can't see... There's some fighters, I think that the atmosphere and the crowd, it can get to them in a negative way. But I think both of these guys thrive off of the atmosphere. And I can't see it being any other way than an absolute barnstormer, to be honest.
Obviously, you'll put the tactics in play, but also Leigh Wood has watched Josh Warrington for 10, 11, 12 years, and vice versa, and you have as well. Different kind of mindset going into a fight like that versus maybe an international opponent that you haven't seen too much of. Although these guys aren't necessarily friends on an amicable level like that, they respect each other and they've watched each other. They've seen each other in big, big fights for many, many years. Yeah, for sure. I think that, you know, I wouldn't have watched Josh thinking, an opponent for Leigh, up until the fight was talked about and it was a potential matchup. But obviously, when that comes about, you start to look at it in a different way, and it's business. It's just business. It's a huge fight. Like I said, massive respect, and there's huge respect between the two fighters as well. But it's business, and I'm confident that Leigh has the tools to be able to come out victorious. When we talk about the domestic rivalry, do you think there's some domestic fighters that might sort of doubt Leigh would, or particularly, you know, not overlook him because it's not something that Josh is going to do, but for many, many years, Leigh Wood was in the shadows, boxing 6, 8-rounders, and we talk about the defeats in the past, and all of a sudden, looks like arguably the number one featherweight in the world right now. And Josh Warrington seems to be full of confidence going into this one.
Yeah, and so he should be, you know. All this talk about, oh, Josh, he's past it and all that, I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I think that, as I said earlier, you know, both guys have been written off before and come back and beaten the odds. And I think Josh has got plenty left in the tank. I think he's still a world-class fighter. I think, you know, he's shown that time and time again. And so he should be. He should be confident. But of course, so are we.
Leigh, welcome. Happy birthday, of course, 35. Don't look a day over 28. And this run, I think what Ben talks about, a great example to young fighters that actually defeats can sometimes define you. The journey can define you, can motivate you, can reassess your goals. But you must never give up because, as I said to you before, when you lost that fight in Hull to Gavin McDonald, really for 5 years, you did very little. You really fought no high-level opposition because you just couldn't get a break. You couldn't get an opportunity. No one would give it to you. Would have been easy to walk away from the game now. And I know we have backwards and forwards and laugh about, you know, how much you're going to get. And you even got your kids to go up to me today and ask me to buy them a unicorn or whatever it was. You know, we'll talk about that later. But I can't, you know, I still cannot express my happiness of the fact that you dug in, you stuck it out, you changed your life. And a lesson to all young fighters.
Yeah, I remember, I think it took me 5 years after Gavin McDonald to stop crying about it, to be honest. I got stopped by someone that couldn't even punch. But yeah, it's about learning, and all the fighters coming through, you know, they're gonna get defeats, but you just got to stick at it. It's like life. You know, not everything goes to plan. Not everything goes as you want it to go. It always goes, something always pops up, something happens. You just have that mindset to just keep going, keep pursuing your dream, keep at it, keep learning. And the main thing for me as well, keep training, because things kept happening in my life and I'd have stayed in the gym. I had no money, I stayed in the gym. Billy Joe came to train at Ingles and I remember I was broke and I was like, I'm just not getting fights, but every day I'd rock up to the gym twice a day, once on a Saturday. And that's part of being a professional. And to young fighters out there that may get beat, things might not be going their way, just stick at it. And if you want it bad enough, you'll get there.
You talk about mindset, and that mindset and strength gets built through that adversity, but also through great performances. And one thing that I've noticed about you is the confidence that you carry now in fights. I remember even when you boxed Kanzu, you had that belief that you would win that fight. You were a massive underdog. Michael Conlon, you're an underdog as well. You had that belief. But even since the Conlon fight, and I know you had the defeat to Lara, but it's just the belief. You went into the rematch. You seem to be mentally very strong now. And that's going to be important going into this fight, because this man to the left, whilst you have tremendous respect, is also very confident that he beats you on October 7th.
Yeah, me and Josh are very similar. We carry ourselves quite well. Both in with our football clubs, massive support, big set of bollocks on them, massive heart. Hard to tear us apart from, you know, I punch harder and box better. Apart from that, you know, we're very similar. But yeah, like, I think the Kanzu fight, obviously the Reece Mould fight first, I didn't have a lot of time with Ben. Then after that, literally the Kanzu fight landed on my lap. It's like, right, you got 6 weeks. And I was thinking, 6 weeks for a world title fight. And Ben's like, you don't even need to spar much for this fight. I was thinking, like, just sparred. The amount of rounds I can't even remember for Reece Mould was every day head sparring, and I racked up some rounds. And he said, yeah, you don't got to spar much for this fight. I'm thinking, this is the hardest fight of my life. Why am I not sparring for this fight? And it was all in the prep, all in the game plan. And that's where I'm getting my confidence from these fights, because it's all in the game plan. It's all right saying, right, you saw your coach saying, right, you're going to win this fight, but how am I going to win this fight? I have that how. So I graft my arse off. I've got a plan. We have the breakdown in the scouting report, and I know exactly how I'm going to win the fight. And that's where my confidence comes from.
Years ago, you were hunting Josh Warrington because he was the guy, wasn't he? He was the number one in the division. He was the money fight in the division. Now he's hunting you. But during that period, did you always believe that you could beat Josh Warrington, even though you may not have had the wins that would make anyone believe, or that would give you the shot to do it? Did you always watch his fights and believe you had the beating of him?
It was hard to watch years ago when nothing was happening for me. I believed I could beat anyone in my division. I believed I was the best, even after the Gavin McDonald fight and I got beat. I was at super bantamweight, but I knew I was going to be a featherweight. I just looked at them and watching them fights. It was hard for me to watch because nobody outside my village knew who I was, literally. And the fights weren't happening. I was at the Inglewood gym, and like I said, I had no money. Scarlett wasn't very old. And yeah, I was just like, what? I remember I had some food. I went to a restaurant with my friend. He's down there. I was like, what I want to do? I'm 30 years old. I've not done nothing in boxing. I've grafted my arse off since I was 10 years old. I'm not where I want to be. I've got nothing. And he's like, right, you need to call someone out. I'm like, it's not what I do. I don't really call people out. He's like, you need to call someone out. Right? It's not going to happen for you. I was like, right, okay, let's go. Right. He goes, who's the best in your division? And at the time, you know, Josh was the best. Josh was number one. I was like, right, call Josh out. All right, so I found this photo, this funny photo, and did this video, this baby shark video, and tweeted it, and it got about 3 likes. I thought, wow. And you can go back and find that. I think it was 2018. And you go full circle, and now I'm defending my world title to Josh in a massive fight. It's probably going to be a sellout, a packed out arena, and the battling fans are going to go at it vocally, and it's going to be some night to remember. But it's a fight I must win. My dream fight's around the corner, and I've told a few people, you know, I wasn't going to sign this fight unless I had that clause in there. Don't go into details because it's confidential, but that City Ground clause is in there. I need to beat Josh Warrington on October 7th.
You both got a lot you still want to achieve, haven't you? I mean, for Josh, he wants to beat you and get that America fight. He's done Ellen Road. You want to beat him and get the City Ground. Still a lot of hunger in both men.
Yeah, this is a massive fight for both of us. A lot of people said Josh is on the slide. I don't believe that. I think it is as good as it's ever been. I've been at his last three fights ringside. The Lopez fight, I thought he should have got the nod. I remember looking to you and said, I think Josh has got it. Very close fight. And I've seen Kiko belt him, like took a big few shots off Kiko and threw straight back. There's nothing wrong with him. Josh is at his best. I just think stylistically, like Selby and Frampton and Galahad suited him better. If these fights he just lost was before them, especially Laura was before them, the same outcome would have happened. He's not on the slide at all. I'm expecting him at his best, at his very best. Like you said, there's a lot on the line for this fight. He needs to win this fight, and I need to win this fight. I'm going to win this fight.
And finally, the support from Nottingham has been unbelievable. City Ground pending a victory, but first an away day for everyone. Probably 6,000 each in there. Going to be an unbelievable atmosphere, but as far as you're concerned, and the same confidence that Josh has, fully confident, it's and still on October the 7th. Yeah,
for sure. There's too much on the line for me. I've worked too hard. I've come from rock bottom to get here. I'm one fight away. It's always the next fight, City Ground. The next fight, City Ground. You know, it's in there. It's in writing. The next fight's the City Ground. It's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. Chalking the stadium down the middle, and having our feet, Nottingham and Leeds, but also, you know, Warrington Wood. So there's a few neutrals that are going that just love boxing. You got to pick a side. So just pick the best looking lad and sit on mine if you want. You know, it's going to be unbelievable atmosphere. You know, the walkouts are going to be incredible. You know, I'm going to be part of it, but I can't wait to watch it back because I know it's going to be an unforgettable night for everyone.
Well, thank you both, and thank you both for the tremendous nights and fights you've given us, Matchroom, The Zone, and other broadcasters before, but particularly the British boxing fans. 2 tremendous fighters, 2 great role models, 2 two-time world champions collide October 7th at the Sheffield Arena, live on The Zone around the world. A British mega fight. Leigh Wood defends his world title against Josh Warrington. We're going to be having media obligations here, head-to-head now, and then we'll be off to Sheffield Arena for photos, and then in Nottingham this evening to conclude the media tour. Get ready for a massive night of boxing, October 7th. We'll see you there.
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.